Yo, what is going on, everyone in the crypto space? Hope you guys are having yourselves a fantastic Monday. And today I want to elaborate a bit more on IBM WorldWire. And I gotta tell you guys, upon further research, I think this is actually something that can end up being very, very good for XRP. And guys, I'm just gonna say this video is probably going to be decently long, and we're going to go over many different points as to why this is actually very good, in my opinion, for both Ripple and XRP. And there's one really good reason why, and I'm going to save that for the end after we kind of connect these dots all together. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. Should you, as an XRP holder, be worried about IBM WorldWire? Short answer, no. Let's go ahead and get into the long answer. So the announcement came out today. I actually don't even have that ready, but I'm sure if I type in IBM blockchain, I'll get some nice press right here. Boom, right there. IBM launches a blockchain-based global payments network using Stellar's currency. Oh boy, is that a misconception. Now, I understand if you do own a lot of Stellar, you're probably very excited about this, but I may just crush their dreams because there's a crucial reason why Stellar is not going to be the dominant settlement mechanism. So the news comes out, IBM, new blockchain-based global payments network, and all it is, guys, is blockchain is just catnip for investors. David Schwartz, I think it's Brad who said that, but recently David Schwartz brought up the point again that people just love calling it blockchain, even though in its underlying foundation it really isn't blockchain, but it's kind of a buzzword for media and to get kind of investors excited, right? So apparently for our kind of public view, our perception should be, okay, so IBM, they launched a blockchain-based global payments network and it's using XLM. Okay, cool, great for XLM. Not quite. Let's go ahead and get into it. Now, here's the reason why Stellar literally cannot be used as the dominant settlement mechanism. Sure, can it settle some smaller transactions? Of course it can. Any currency with at least like 2 people trading it can. But there's one crucial thing with Stellar. So you guys might look at Stellar and go, okay, $200 million in volume, pretty good liquidity, right? Not really. One problem with that. The number one pair for XLM right now is actually the Chinese yuan. And there's $20 million in volume, pretty good liquidity there. But here's the thing, WorldWire is not operating in China. China, they really do not let any US-based companies come in and establish, any sort of really new payment network in there. But, which is actually funny because Ripple does actually now have headquarters in Shanghai, China. So, IBM WorldWire is not, to my knowledge, is not going to operate in China. So the XLM to Chinese yuan liquidity is kind of useless at this point. But Ripple actually does have HQs in China. Now, after the Chinese yuan, now this is IBM and they're basing this, they're a US based company. So you might be asking, how much US dollar liquidity does Stellar have? And you go down the list and we're not seeing really any US dollar liquidity being as one of the top liquidity pairs. But you can see right here, the next currency down, the second largest fiat currency in terms of liquidity is the Korean won, and it's, the Korean, I forget what the Korean currency is called, but to the Korean currency, it's $2.5 billion in volume. Now, in terms of settling cross-border payments, at this liquidity level, you're only going to be able to settle maybe, a trend at the most without affecting the market, maybe like a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 transaction, and it would have, zero movement on the market. And check this out. You keep going lower, and look at this. The digital asset investor currency actually has more freaking liquidity than the US dollar. So now when you go to XLM to the US dollar, which is probably on one of the most sketchiest exchanges I've ever seen in my life, Stellar really only has, if you take this one right here, 1.4 million and 1.3 million, Stellar really only has about $2.5 to $3 million daily of US dollar liquidity. Now, if you compare that to XRP has something along the lines of, something like between 50 to 100 million, 150 million in just the US dollar alone. And in fiat liquidity actually is a pretty big chunk of the total XRP volume. If you guys look at the leading XRP pairs, you'll see a lot of them are fiat currency. So XRP does actually have sufficient liquidity for the US dollar especially. But Stellar, on the other hand, guys, literally does not have a lot of liquidity and therefore can't be used in the IBM WorldWire. Now, smaller transactions, of course, can be settled, but guys, if IBM is working on WorldWire with significant size banks, they're going to want to push large business to business payments through because those are the ones that are going to cost them the most money and would make the most sense to have an alternative settlement route. But Stellar is not going to be an alternative settlement route for significant size payments because it simply lacks fiat liquidity. So you can see this $200 million of volume, and a Stellar holder might go, oh, nice, $200 million today. That's really good liquidity for the network. But the sad truth is that majority of that volume is just other altcoins. And banks aren't looking for altcoin liquidity. They're looking for fiat to this crypto liquidity, which is what they're going to need to settle these large payments through. So to have Forbes come out and say using Stellar's cryptocurrency, it's kind of a misconception because they're just using all they did was build on top of the Stellar protocol. Now, if they're wanting to use Stellar currency, they're going to be using it at very, very small scale. I'm telling you guys, like 90% of this liquidity is altcoins, so you're really leaving about 20-30 million per day just in fiat. And then the one that's 20 million, which is the Chinese yuan, does not, they're not even operating in China to my knowledge, because China does not really let in any US companies bring in some new payments. But that is a kind of exception for Ripple, because since the technology is so superior, China only let Ripple into to set up camp in China. But either way, I'm spending a lot more time on shit on this, but basically the whole point is Stellar has no liquidity. It does not have as near as much liquidity as XRP has on the fiat side. You can check that out for yourself. So what does IBM plan to have, the dominant settlement mechanism? What do they think the dominant settlement mechanism is going to be? Now, right now, it's a freaking stable coin. And as people might learn, stable coins do not work long term. There's too much counterparty risk, and it's literally all you're doing now is building walled gardens, making your own stable coin. Because what if JP Morgan, what if they come to IBM and say, hey, we want to use Global Payments Network? Okay, great. So do you want to use, our IBM stable coin? But no, then JPM's going to go, okay, no, but I want to issue my own JPM coin on the network, because people and banks can issue tokens on this IBM WorldWire. That's why they say that they can use a variety of digital assets. So if IBM has their own stable coin, but then another bank comes on and goes, hey, no, but we want to use JPM. Then now you got JPM bringing their own currency. Then what if Bank of America wants to hop in? Then they go, okay, well, we want our Bank of America stablecoin. And then now you're just creating the same inefficiency of liquidity again by creating all these stablecoins and just recreating the problem of fiat currency. So literally stablecoins on this platform are not going to last long term, and they're going to realize that. The main reason, guys, why I'm excited for IBM is because now they're actually going to put the crappy alternatives to use. That's the truth. The reason why I'm excited about it, not because it can actually end up using XRP, because guys, I'll put my credibility on the line for this. There is a video out there of, I believe, Jesse Lund from IBM saying that they weren't 100% sure on every currency they're going to use, but they said they may actually even use XRP. I do not have the video right now, tried searching for it, couldn't find it, but I will put my absolute credibility on the line that IBM did say that they might either use Ripple or XRP. Keep that in mind. But the main reason I'm excited for IBM WorldWire is they're now going to put stable coins, Stellar, and other settlement mechanisms that are not as efficient as XRP to the test. So now we're going to get a real world, like, no use case scenario, because I have a feeling that once these banks actually start leveraging this, and then they're going, okay, hey IBM, all right, I want to settle a $30 million payment from Japan to US, and I want to use Stellar. Let's go ahead, let's make this happen. And Stellar only has about 3.5 million in the last 24 hours of US liquidity. So that $30 million transaction cannot be settled with the amount of liquidity that Stellar has. Then they go, okay, so let's use stablecoins. So now they go and use this stablecoin. They realize that they're having their money tied up in essentially what is a security, and that provides counterparty risk. And they realize stablecoins aren't that much of a cheaper solution, because what happens is when you're leveraging a stable coin between two fiat currencies, not only do you have the counterparty risk, but now how fast is that stable coin actually going to operate, and how much does it cost to actually leverage that stable coin? Now these other factors come into play. So the main reason why I'm excited about IBM WorldWire is they're going to put the crappy solutions to test. They're essentially going to take the other alternatives that people can't come to the realization that they're not sufficient enough. Stellar, stablecoins, and Swift GPI are not what they seem to be on the front end. On the front end, Stellar, stablecoins, and IBM look like they're great solutions. But these banks have never really put it to the test. And now IBM WorldWire is live. Now they're going to use Stellar and stablecoins, and they're going to realize how inferior they are to XRP. So again, guys, main reason why I'm excited, we're putting the bad alternatives to the test. And these banks can see firsthand, wow, okay, so I can only settle really small payments with Stellar. Okay, now I'm introducing counterparty risk, and now I have capital tied up into a stable coin, which then has counterparty risk. It's almost like a double liability with stable coins, being it's backed by fiat. And then what if you need that? And what if you need another stable coin to get into another destination currency? I mean, it's a whole freaking just entire mess in these alternatives. And I am so excited to see these banks actually try these alternatives that claim to be so great, but are actually fundamentally terrible compared to XRP. So guys, I am so excited. I want to see banks use Stellar. I want to see banks use stablecoins, and I want them to see firsthand how inefficient they are so they can really have much more appreciation for the power of XRP. Because everything that Ripple claims, XRP can do. With stablecoins, GPI, and Stellar, it's not really a huge change from what we're usually doing now. And plus, the Stellar token is not even going to be used. They built on top of the Stellar protocol and are using stablecoins because Stellar doesn't have the necessary liquidity. So again, I know I'm repeating myself and going long about this, but I really want to make my point clear that we're putting the crappy alternatives to the test, and that's going to make the institutions appreciate XRP much, much more. Now, so what else I got for you guys is I got a video of Jesse Lund. This is like this just came out 4 hours ago. This is the What is IBM Blockchain WorldWire. You actually get to see the fraud Jed McCaleb actually talk about this new solution. And there's this one part of this video that I do actually really want you guys to watch, because it's not just going to be one settlement mechanism on the network. There's going to be multiple digital assets being leveraged to get payments through. And now, guys, let's put on our tinfoil hats briefly. I don't like to put on my tinfoil hat a lot, but in this certain scenario, I actually do want to. Now, you guys may have known that Jed McCaleb has a wallet, and like since the freaking dawn of time, he's been selling XRP. He's been selling the legal amount of XRP every single day within their, within their settlement terms when Jed separated from the company. And since the dawn of time of Ripple, since Jed left Ripple, he's been selling XRP every single day, and back then actually did attempt to crash XRP on purpose. There's actual proof of that, so that's why when I do call him a fraud, I'm not kidding. You can literally do the research on declassified government documents that this guy is a fraud. Now, anyways, point being, Jed quit selling his XRP 2.5 months ago. I don't know what happened. We all tried to speculate. I don't really think any of us got onto a good theory on what it may have been. I couldn't even really wrap my head around it. It was so confusing as to why someone who kind of was separated from the company because of, art and just a pattern of arguments and bad ideas and not agreeing with the team, that he would stop selling the XRP. Because, guys, I gotta say, if I was in Jed's position, most likely I'd be selling XRP, because I'm Jed McCaleb. I don't like Ripple. I don't like XRP. I'm all about Stellar. So it would make sense for him to keep selling XRP, but he's not selling XRP. And now keep in mind right here that Jesse Lund states that they can use a variety of digital assets. Let's go ahead and let's play this just for the sake of, trying to prove my point.
Financial institutions to discover each other, to trust each other, to communicate and interact for the sake of cross-border payments using a whole variety of digital assets as
a whole variety of digital assets, and they did previously state that they might leverage XRP. Now, one theory that I read from XRP chat was that it might be a possibility that Jed McCaleb signed over some of his XRP, or it could be all of his XRP, to IBM so they could actually leverage the XRP for settlement. Because if somebody that takes the time and really does the research, they can understand that GPI, the new Stellar protocol, and its lack of fiat liquidity and stable coins are not going to be sustainable long term. And again, so excited they're putting these crappy alternatives to the test, because they're going to see real world how bad it actually is compared to XRP. So again, he says they can use a variety of digital assets, and they've previously said that they might use XRP, and they're working on this with Jed McCaleb, and Jed all of a sudden quit selling his XRP. Now, it's not out of the realm here for him to, make some deal with IBM where they purchased all his XRP or a bulk amount of his XRP so they could use that on the IBM blockchain WorldWire to get efficient payments actually settled. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities here, considering the fact that, Jed's been selling anyways every single day, that he may have sold a bulk sum to IBM, and that's why he's no longer selling, and IBM might be planning to leverage XRP in the future on this IBM blockchain WorldWire. Now, again, not confirmed information. It's just my 2 cents and kind of my little tinfoil hat speculation, because this is kind of like the only really fitting theory that I can see of why Jed would stop selling his XRP, because he just sells it all at once, bulk loads, signs over the escrow to IBM, and they can actually get that XRP every single day. Instead of selling it, can actually use it in this IBM WorldWire ecosystem to actually make it a platform that's more efficient for banks. And that's why I'm excited about IBM, guys. It's putting the crappy alternatives to test, and there's a definite possibility that XRP could be used. Jesse Lund himself, there's a video out there. Again, I am willing to put my credibility on the line here that he did state, may not have been Jesse Lund, may have been someone else, but it was someone significant from IBM saying that they're not sure on all of the digital assets that they're going to use, but they might even actually use Ripple, and ended up correcting himself saying XRP. So it's definitely a possibility, and also considering the fact that he just said today on the launch date video that they're going to use a variety of the digital assets. And what happens when they use Stellar, realize there's no fiat liquidity, leverage stable coins, realize they don't really work long term, and someone has to keep buying up their own currency just to keep the price stable, and that there's counterparty risk, they're going to have more appreciation for XRP. And that's where IBM WorldWire technically can 100% integrate with XRP, because they plan to use a variety of digital assets on there. So essentially any digital asset could partake in an IBM blockchain WorldWire. And guys, honestly, my kind of theory, or the theory I read on XRP chat about Jed signing over XRP to IBM, because IBM can easily use that to switch between 2 fiats very, very efficiently, not out of the realm of possibilities here. Final thing I want to share with you guys on the XRP Daily. This was a from January 27, 2019. I wrote this piece here, which was found by XRP Darren, which was it was this like one pretty significant company, and it essentially confirmed that IBM, as of 2000, the article or the PDF was from 2016, and they said in 2016 that IBM is working with Ripple to add direct access to cross-border payments for non-correspondent banks to its financial transaction manager platform, which I'm sure is what now known as IBM WorldWire. So IBM at one point working with Ripple. Don't know if they're still working with them, because we haven't got more clarification, but IBM is working with Ripple. They said they might actually use XRP. Then they confirmed that they're going to use a variety of digital assets here. And honestly, the dominant settlement mechanism is going to be chosen by natural selection, because they realize that Stellar has no fiat liquidity and stablecoins introduce counterparty risk and a whole plethora of other issues long term. They're going to realize that the dominant settlement mechanism here is XRP, because it's the cheapest one to use. And banks are obviously going to flock to the cheapest one, and I do not think it's out of the realm of possibilities here that Jed may have signed over his XRP somehow in a partnership so they would actually use that XRP on WorldWire. Because again, why would Jed stop selling his XRP? Guys, honestly, I am excited for WorldWire for so many reasons. The crappy alternatives are going to put to the test. They're going to have more appreciation for XRP and realize how phenomenal of a product, how phenomenal of an asset it really is compared to other solutions that are painted to be some great product, but at the back end, it's the same. It's introducing the same problem as fiat currencies. So I am so excited for these crappy alternatives to get tested in the real world. And then they go along and leverage XRP, and they see firsthand how much better this asset is versus any other one. All right, guys, there's my video for you today. And honestly, I don't think it's out of the picture here, guys. IBM might end up leveraging XRP. And man, these crappy alternatives are going to be put to the test and beat down in the real world, because they literally do nothing different than the current system. So thank you guys for watching the video today. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe, check links in the description, get yourself a Nano S, keep that cryptocurrency nice, safe, and offline, and make sure to hit those post notifications so you never miss a video or stream, and make sure to hit the comments below. Always do appreciate your guys' insight. Now, honestly, I really want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this, and I would really love to have this as a discussion at the beginning of tomorrow's stream. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and if you see a really good comment that kind of explains how you feel about this situation, make sure drop a like on it, and I'll go over them tomorrow on stream. So yeah, pretty cool, guys. I think WorldWire does have the potential to use XRP, and WorldWire is going to show the world that stablecoins and the Stellar currency are not the solution. So thank you guys for tuning in the video today. Really do appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one.